Hey guys, James with Torches and Tactical, and I'm going to start this video off with one simple question. Do I like a zoomable or zoomy flashlight? I did do a video on the Jarburial lights before, but Vastfire sent us their latest and greatest. Now, they just call this their world's brightest LED plus LEP, and there's a reason why they do that. However, it might be a bit of a misnomer. But before I get into that, I just want to go ahead and open up the packaging here, show you that all that's in here is just a USB-C cable so you can keep it charged up. And I want to get that box out of the way now because this is everything that came inside the package. So it does have that USB-C cable here. And in addition to that, there is a cardboard isolator inside the battery tube. That's just so it doesn't turn on during shipment. But they even included a little LED UV flashlight. Now, this isn't the greatest thing here, but I will go ahead and just show it to you real quick. If I can open it again, go ahead and pop that out. This was included free of charge with the order, and you can see a little bit of UV here. And actually, I'll go ahead and use this to show you first and foremost that it does come with a glow-in-the-dark lanyard. Now, it doesn't have the highest light reactivity, if you will, but it does work. And so it is glowing a little bit brighter right now. But now getting into the actual light, I want to go ahead and show you guys that I think as far as zoomies go, Vastfire might hold the crown as far as quality for the actual host. So this is their newest, latest, greatest, world's brightest. On the Amazon listing, it's showing as 900,000 lumens, but later down in the description, they went ahead and said that it's actually rated at 10,000 lumens, and that's all from a quad round die. That's right, quad round die. So you're gonna have four separate emitter beams when it's all the way zoomed out. Let me go ahead and show you guys here. Oh, actually, okay, so it is a little too close for this to shine here, but you will see it outside later at night. But they sent this to me because they wanted an honest review, and I'm going to give them an honest review. So one thing I will tell you is that the host is actually really, really, really nice. I'm quite a fan of how it A looks, B feels, and C, I think with this large MCPCB in here, this could be a host for swapping over some new or different or alternate emitters into a zoomable flashlight. And I think I'll just tell you straight up, I think I do want to try that with this host, but that's after I get through with this review. So real quick, let's go ahead and run down the body of this. This does have huge crenulation. So if you need to use this as kind of like a strike bezel, you can do that. And if I hold it flat here, you'll see that those bezels do, or the crenulations rather, they do line up pretty well neck and neck with this huge convex domed lens. And that lens is going to help distribute the light in either that really narrow beam pattern or that really wide flood pattern that zoomable flashlights are known for. So we move down and there are quite deep cooling fins. However, frankly, I don't know if that deep of a cooling fin is needed for something that doesn't put out 900,000 lumens. But you have an O-ring seal for this zoomable head, and that O-ring seal is quite well done. When it's down low, there's very little flex at all. When it's all the way up, you will get a little more rotation or flex out of the actual bezel or head of the flashlight moving back and forth, but it's on a really nice, evenly anodized coating here, so it slides really well. And the only time I've ever had an issue at all with this is when the light has been sitting for a couple days, and then you'll notice a little bit of resistance when you start to move it back and forth. But there are some design machining right here, and that matches on the other side. And then at the neck, so to speak, of this flashlight, you'll see your E-switch, and this has a lot of resistance, and I do mean a lot. There's an absolute gob of force that you got to put into the switch in order to activate it. But opposite that, this is where I think this is really cool, but this is where you have not only your USB-C port for charging, but you also have a full-size USB-A port. So you can use the cable that came with it. You can use this in reverse to go ahead and charge your other components, such as a flashlight or, I don't know, a Bluetooth speaker or something of that nature. Now, one thing you will notice real quick, if I jump back over to the other side, is when you turn it on, there is a battery indicator here, so you can see exactly how your battery's doing. Let's go ahead and shut that off. And then we'll move down past that. Now, actually, this does come apart right here. So I'll show you the threads on this section while I'm at it. So here is the driver side. Now, this says KT Tactics Flashlight LED YLT. So, I mean, it's a huge driver. It looks like it's held down with a pressure board here. And I was trying to move this earlier. One thing I will notice is it's just a plain copper spring, but that copper spring looks like it's already developing some sort of patina, if you will. I'm not going to say that it's corroded or anything, but there is a little bit of patina going on with this pure copper spring. I like the fact that there's a huge conductivity factor in pure copper, but uh, uncoated copper does have a tendency to patina or corrode. So on top of that, there are dissimilar metals here because you have that copper, and then you have your uncoated threads, and those threads are going to match up on the battery tube right here. So these are also uncoated, and those are going to send all those electrons from the base end where the negative's at up to the driver. And here's your battery real fast. This is completely unmarked. It is a 21700 cell. Now I do see a little bit of white in here, but I can't tell if that is just an isolator or spacer, or if they just rewrapped something else. There's no sign on the back end that it is just a rewrap job, but I don't know what this is rated at because there's not a single marking in sight. So we'll set that down, and inside this battery tube, there is a much, much larger spring, and that's going to hold this battery in place. But you do see your O-ring seals here, and they are quite well lubricated. So I apologize because this thing's probably going to get disgusting after touching that. And that same machining that you saw on these cooling fins up here, these are going to move down towards this battery tube as well. It's going to give you a lot of grip, and in addition to that grip, you do also get your pocket clip here. That pocket clip works quite well. As far as a cheaper pocket clip, I have to say that the coating isn't the greatest, but the spring resistance and the feel of this pocket clip is actually quite well done. I may have wanted to see a little larger throat right here, but to each their own. So we'll go ahead and take this tail cap off now. You can see that larger spring, and as well as that uncoated surface here that's going to keep transmitting those electrons from the back to the front. So this looks to be, or appears to be rather, a coated spring, but this is also a lot stiffer than than the spring on the driver board. So I did do a pretty vigorous jounce or bounce, or whatever you want to call it. I shook the Vastfire light around like a maraca, and I couldn't get those contacts to break. And I think that's because you have the spring not only on the head, but the spring on the tail cap as well. So I'll get this back on here, and then we'll look at the actual design of this tail cap. So the tail cap has some sort of machining here, and I will say that this center machine down here, or this center line that they put on the tail cap, it adds quite a bit of character to it. Again, I I won't speak incredibly highly on the actual output of this light, but as far as the host goes, I think this is a very, very good job. I think this is a job well done, and let's go ahead and put this back together. But with this Vastfire, I mean, this is an absolute chonker. This is such a heavy light that I think this will provide decent cooling if we were to swap this emitter. Now, real fast down in the comments, tell me if you do want to swap this emitter, or if you want to see me swap this emitter over, and we'll do kind of a test light with this. But this lanyard, real fast, does clip off, and you have an adjustable keeper here, so you can have this set and lock it around your wrist, so you can make sure that this won't fall off. And it has some sort of bead or counter, but there's only one, so I don't know if I wasn't able to find out if this back piece comes off at all, but I would think that it would if you want to add more beads, because I know some people like their beads on their lanyards. So Guys, that is the flashlight. Now what I want to do is I want to walk you through the user interface. So this will start out in high, and again, it's not 900,000 lumens like the ad says, but if you go ahead and press it, here you go. Okay. I don't know if it's showing up on your guys' system, but actually watching this as I record, there is a lot of PWM in here, pulse width modulation, which means that it's cutting that LED on and off really, really, really fast in order to give you your brightness. So if we're seeing that on high, where it's typically less present, it means that it'll probably be more present if we, oh, if we switch to a lower speed. Okay, definitely more present. And okay, yeah. So the distance in between these lines, and again, I really, really hope this is showing up for you guys on camera because what I'm seeing, it's very obvious. But if you long press and hold, that will switch over to your strobe, and then you can long press again, and this will go to your SOS mode. And one nice thing about this is you don't have to jump all the way through all those hoops if you want to go straight to strobe. Now, while it's off, you can press and hold, and it'll just go straight to your strobe user interface. So, I mean, I think that's pretty decent, but you will have to cycle through the SOS in order to turn it off. So, what do you guys think about this new Vastfire? 900,000 lumens, but again, down lower in the listing, it does show that it is closer to 10,000 lumens. However, I still think that is a huge, huge stretch. So just to give you a taste of it, we have theoretical 10,000 lumens from the Vastfire. Now, and this right here is 4,600 lumens, but unfortunately, I can't disclose what this light is just yet. So again, we have 10,000 lumens versus 4,600 lumens. So you guys tell me what you think is brighter. Now I will go outside and I will do some nighttime shots so you guys can see just how well those four individual LEDs, you can see just how well that these do shine out as far as their focus and how well they flood when this head is all the way back. But what I will do is I'll pick this up actually quite a bit above the camera right now, so you can get a little taste of how those four LEDs do shine out when they're in focus mode. So we have so there's just a little taste. You can see four individual emitters, and that's going to continue all the way, no matter where you have those lights focused. So what I want to do though is, since they say it is an LED and an LEP, what I want to do is I want to compare this with the Jarbirio light that I did do quite a few months ago. I want to say about 3 months ago offhand. So I want to compare this to that Jarbirio light, but then I also want to compare it to the Loop Skywalker. Now, the Skywalker SK01S is tried and true an LEP. So we're going to go ahead and see how the LED on here on this Vastfire does compared to that Jarbirio light. And then we're going to compare its LEP qualities over to the SK01S. So let's get outside.
All right, guys, we have the 900,000 lumen Vastfire Ford round die LED LEP flashlight. Now, I know that's a mouthful, but that's kind of everything they had going for it. But we're going to go ahead and compare that to that Jarbirio GFC 1104E, and we're going to compare it to the Loop SK01S Skywalker, just so you can see how one Zoomie compares to another. You can get that comparison between the four dies and the one die, and then we're going to go ahead and see how the Vastfire LEP qualities compared to the Loop SK01S LEP qualities. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Now, here is the alleged 900,000 lumens. Now, I'm going to go ahead and focus everything out. Now, this is kind of unusual to see. You have each of those four individual dies, and all of them are visible independently of each other. And here, I'll zoom back out again. So I'm not going to say that this gives no light output or it's terrible or anything like that. However, I think the main focus for this light for me is probably going to be that host. Let's go ahead and zoom back out one more time. Now, this is just such a weird feeling seeing this. But let's go ahead and do some comparisons. Now to compare, we have the LED comparison with the Vastfire, and now I'm going to show you the Jarbirial GFC 1104E. So let's go ahead and turn this guy on. And we'll zoom this one out. So this has that single die and still focuses pretty decent. However, there's a lot of spill. So, I mean, this was rated at, I want to say it was 10,000 lumens offhand. Came in nowhere near it. And frankly, that Vastfire is also coming in nowhere near the 900,000 lumens that it is suggesting. Let's go ahead and shut this one off. Now I'm going to go ahead and bring up the Vastfire one more time. Go all the way zoomed out. And here we have those 4 dies one more time, just so we can compare to the Loop SK01S. Now this is a full-fledged LEP, so it's using an actual laser module as opposed to just saying that it has a laser. So let's go ahead and turn this on. This is full tilt on the SK01S. So quite a distinct hotspot. Yes, there is a little bit of spill still, but quite a distinct hotspot and quite a bit more focused than that Vastfire. So tell me what you guys thought about the comparison between the LEP-like qualities of the Vastfire 900,000 lumen LED LEP, everything but the kitchen sink, and that Loop SK01S LEP. So guys, let's get back inside.
All right, guys, we are back. And I'm going to go ahead and say right now that as far as the LED output goes, this is, I mean, except for the 4 separate emitters, this is basically no different than that Jarbirial light to me. However, this host is like way far and above that Jarbirial host. So again, I think that we are going to have to do a little bit of playtime, so to speak, and figure out exactly what we can fit in here, what size MCPCB may be able to work in place of this stock one, and see what we can do as far as getting some really, really good light output. Now, when it came down to it, I don't think this had the same focus quality as the Loop SK01S, but I mean, as far as a $30 light compared to a, well, let's not even get into the price of the SK01S, but as far as the LEP qualities go, the focusing on this one is not as good as the SK01S, but I don't expect it to be. Now, getting into just the Vastfire LED light itself, I got to say that again, you know, a Zoomie is a Zoomie. There are ways to do it correctly. However, these mass-produced units that claim, you know, having a light that'll shine to the moon and back, that will kind of detract from its quality. You know, after you've seen it so many times, it frankly it doesn't impress. Um, as far as the host though, this host, uh, this okay, I'm telling you right now, this is going to get used for something. I have to figure out exactly what I can do to make this host worth it. So down in the comments, tell me what you guys want to see inside this light, and we will figure out ahead of time what forward voltage this LED is, so we don't have to switch drivers or anything like that. Now, one final note I will say is that they have to do something about the user interface. Now, this does give you the option to shut it off after it has been running for a while. So after it's been on, you can simply press the button and it'll shut off without advancing. That I appreciate. And it will give you that quick access just by pressing and holding over to that strobe and then the SOS before it shuts off again. Again, that I appreciate. However, there has to be some sort of user interface change as far as being able to access or having memory that, frankly, a lot of these just don't have. So, guys, I will put a link down in the comments below if you just want to see this host for yourself, or if you think that, you know, in the long run, this is something that you may want to look into. If not, you know, don't worry about checking it out, but I will have an Amazon link down below so you can click on it and check this out for yourself. See the pictures they have, see how they compare to the ones that I took. And thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate it. If you could like this video, share it with your friends, and if you do, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. But make sure you click on that bell notification because that's going to let you guys know when we have a new video coming out. All right, guys, I will see you in the next one.